You know, in hotel sales, the pressure to close a deal, it's always on. But what if the little habits we fall back on when we're stressed are the very things that are costing us revenue and maybe even client trust? Well, today we're going to look at those silent deal killers, the ones that might be hiding in your own strategy. Right? It's a great question to start with. We're not talking about the big, obvious blunders. We're digging into the subtle stuff, the habits that can slowly unravel a great deal without you even noticing what's happening. These are the pitfalls that are hiding in plain sight. And that's exactly our goal here. We're going to pull back the curtain on these all too common mistakes, but here's the best part. We're not just going to point out the problems, we're going to give you clear, actionable ways to flip them around and turn these weaknesses into your biggest strengths. All right, first up is probably the most fundamental error of all, walking into a negotiation unprepared. And I get it, right? You're juggling a dozen clients, you've got deadlines flying at you, and it's so tempting to just wing it. But that old saying is true, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. And this one mistake, it creates two completely different outcomes. Look at the unprepared negotiator. They're just reacting, they're giving away concessions because they don't have a clear endgame. But the prepared negotiator, they're operating from a place of confidence. They have a plan, they know their walkaway points, and every response is strategic, not just a gut reaction. So, how do you build that foundation of strength? It really comes down to these three pillars. It's not enough to be strong in just one area. You've got to have a complete 360-degree view of the entire playing field before you even pick up the phone. First, you have to know your client inside and out. And I mean way beyond their name and title. Dive into their booking history. What are the patterns? What challenges is their industry facing right now? And critically, who actually has the authority to make the final decision? When you truly understand their world, you can position your offer as the exact solution they need. And just as crucial, you have to know your own territory. What's your occupancy forecast for the dates they want? Is that your high season or your shoulder season? Understanding your hotel's internal position, your revenue strategy, your inventory, how flexible you can actually be, that's what gives you the confidence to know when to hold firm and where you can compromise without giving away the farm. Okay, the second major pitfall, we have all seen this one. It's when the entire conversation gets sucked into a vortex of price, price, price. It's so easy to just pull that discount lever, but honestly, it is incredibly dangerous. It's the discount trap. Just look at the difference here. A conversation that's only about price basically tells the client that your hotel is a commodity, no different from the one down the street. It just becomes a race to the bottom. But when you shift that conversation to value, everything changes. You start building a real partnership, you protect your rates, and you open the door to some really creative solutions. And this quote, it just nails it, doesn't it? At the end of the day, you're not selling four walls and a bed. You're selling an experience. You're selling peace of mind, a flawlessly executed event, the reputation of your brand. So the negotiation has to reflect that full value. So how do you make that shift? You get creative. Think about the perks that are hugely valuable to a client, but have a pretty low cost to you. Things like flexible check-in times or throwing in upgraded AV equipment. This is how you show them you're a partner who's invested in their success, not just some vendor trying to make a sale. Now, for a tough one, a challenge that we've all faced, the emotional reactor. You know that moment when negotiations get tense, a client is frustrated, and how you respond in that split second can literally make or break the entire deal. Your single most powerful tool here is active listening. And let's be clear, this is not just being quiet while you wait for your turn to talk. It's about truly hearing the client's concern, letting them know you heard it, and then asking questions to get to the real root of the issue. It instantly de-escalates the situation and builds a massive amount of trust. This is the real power of just listening. When a client feels genuinely heard, you can feel the shift in the room. They go from being an adversary to being a collaborator. Suddenly, that conflict becomes a problem you can solve together. You're not on opposite sides of the table anymore. You're on the same side, tackling the challenge. Our fourth mistake is a tempting one, making promises you know you can't keep. You're in the heat of the moment, you're so close to getting that signature, and it's easy to agree to almost anything. But it's a textbook example of sacrificing long-term trust for a short-term win. And the fallout from this is, well, it's totally predictable. An unrealistic promise puts a huge strain on your operations team, almost always leads to an unhappy guest, and it chips away at your professional reputation. Compare that to a realistic commitment that you deliver flawlessly. That does the exact opposite. It builds rock-solid trust and reinforces the quality of your brand. The fix for this is simple, but it really requires discipline. Before you say yes, go talk to your ops team. Confirm that what the client wants is actually feasible. Then just be transparent with the client. Trust me, they will always, always respect your honesty more than they will a broken promise. Maybe the biggest mindset shift we need to make is this. If you walk into a negotiation thinking of it as a battle, you've probably already lost. The real goal isn't to win. It's to build something valuable and lasting for both sides. So here it is, your negotiation toolkit. It really boils down to these 4 principles. Prepare like your deal depends on it, because it does. Always focus on the total value, not just the room rate. Keep your cool and listen more than you talk. And finally, only make promises that you know, without a doubt, your team can deliver on. So every time you pick up that phone, every time you walk into a meeting, you have a choice to make. Are you gearing up for a confrontation, or are you trying to start a partnership? When you avoid these common pitfalls, you're not just closing one deal, you're laying the foundation for many, many more to come.